As the morning sun started to warm the sidewalk, Maya left the cafe and wiped her hands on her apron. She was worn out from the early shift, but she noticed something. A small child sitting on the sidewalk with tears streaming down his face and a mangled, unrideable bike. Maya approached without thinking and said softly, "Hey, you okay?" The boy gave an ashamed nod. Maya didn't hesitate, even though his bike's handlebars were twisted and the chain had fallen off. She knelt next to him. She started working while her coffee-stained apron was dragging on the floor. She moved with unexpected confidence as she straightened the handlebars and adjusted the chain, her fingers still stiff from hours of making lattes. She smiled up at him and said, "I have a son about your age. I know how important bikes are. It's like your first taste of freedom." "Thanks, lady." The boy's eyes glowed with a mixture of admiration and relief. "You're all set, champ," she smirked. A man drinking coffee outside a bookshop across the street observed the entire event. Silently, he took out his phone and began recording. He was profoundly affected by the way Maya donated her time, without any pomp or expectation. She failed to see him. Her attention was on a child, unaware that this simple act of selflessness would have a profound impact that would alter her life forever. She cleaned her hands and went back to the cafe. Maya smiled when she arrived at work the following morning, oblivious to the brief time she had spent assisting the boy, but something felt different. Her manager Steve slammed the door behind them as he stood by the office door with his arms crossed, saying, "Maya, we need to talk. You left the front desk yesterday, leaving the register unattended for about 5 minutes." Maya blinked unexpectedly. A child was screaming outside, and his bike was broken. "All I wanted to do was assist." Steve's voice remained firm. "That isn't the purpose. Company policy is that we cannot tolerate theft for any cause." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I've never been late. Never skipped a shift. I'm sorry, Maya." But the words seemed pointless amid the office's sterile silence. "Please, I need this job," Steve said, giving her his last paycheck in a bland manner. "We must release you." She packed up her belongings, stunned. Every time you leave the cafe, you feel heavier than before. The familiar ring of the doorbell reverberated like a surprise conclusion. Kindness was the right thing to do, but now that she had no job and debts were piling up, it felt like she had gambled everything and lost. She went home in silence, hands stuffed deep into her coat pockets, replaying the moment with the youngster over and again. The quiet in Maya's flat that evening was deafening. A half-eaten bowl of cereal from a coffee table was clutched to her chest as she perched on the couch knees. Rent was due in a week, but her kid was sleeping in the adjacent room, oblivious to the tempest that was subtly brewing inside his mother. The job postings were depressing. She considered selling her phone for money as she looked at it. Then an unknown number buzzed. She nearly chose not to respond, but instinct compelled her to say hello. "Hi, is this Maya?" was answered in a soothing, kind voice. "Yes, who is this?" "John Taylor is my name. I know you, but you don't know me." She was shaking. "I'm sorry I saw what you did yesterday. The boy whose bike broke, you were unaware that anyone was observing. But many of us were, and we haven't stopped considering it since." Maya remained silent, wondering whether to be worried or bewildered. "I know this seems weird, but you're going to want to open your front door," John said with a soft laugh. Her heart thumped, and after a brief pause, she gently got up and crossed the tiny room. She was stunned by what she saw when the door cracked open. Maya blinked against the porch light as she opened the door and then paused. 17 strangers were standing outside, their faces beaming with warmth and silent intent. A lady holding a camera, a young man with pink hair, a skateboard, and a man wearing a fitted suit. They approached one by one. "I'm Jenna. I'm Marco, an artist, and I used to fix bikes to pay for paint. I'm Lisa, and I manage a nonprofit for single parents. I had nothing growing up, but someone helped me once, and now I'm here for you." Maya remained stunned, gripping the doorknob as if it were her only support. A man moved forward. "We watched the video, John Taylor. The way you put everything on hold to assist that boy." He took a check out of his coat and showed us what it means to be human. No cameras, no likes, just heart. We all contributed something, but it wasn't charity or thanks. They then gave her checks one by one. "We're all here because someone once believed in us when we were down." Maya's hands trembled as she looked at the total of 17, which was enough to pay off her debts, cover rent for a year, and finally launched the bike repair shop she had always dreamed about. She was unable to speak, and tears were streaming down her face. John said, "Now it's your turn to rise." Sunlight streamed through Maya's new store's expansive windows, glinting off rows of little bikes in every hue. Children who came to study, play, and feel comfortable left crayon drawings on the walls. As a group of kids went in circles on their freshly repaired bikes, swaying and smiling, carrying them like wings inside, laughing erupted outside. Maya demonstrated how to tighten a bolt while kneeling next to a small girl. She smiled as she handed the wrench along, saying, "See that you're stronger than you think." A hand-painted wooden sign hung over them. "Being kind is always worthwhile." Her 1-year-old kid, smiling with joy, raced up and gave her a tight hug. She embraced him with all of her heart. It all began with a single broken bike. Her voice was heavy with emotion as she whispered. When she believed her world had broken apart, she glanced about at the store, the happiness of the children, and realized that it had actually opened the door to something greater than she could have ever dreamed. Occasionally, what appears to be the end is actually only the beginning, and kindness is always appreciated.